Okay, in this screencast, we're going to put the main feature headline on the front page. In your case, it will be a headline about your feature, your interview feature inside. We want it to be the main headline on the front cover, so I'm going to put it in this area here. If I just zoom in, go to my magnifying glass, zoom in, come back off my magnifying glass. This area here is a nice prominent position on the front page. It's near the top and it's got a nice sort of bit of plain space that I can use for my main headline. If we look at the original cover of Delicious Magazine, you can see it uses lots of different kinds of fonts on the page, maybe 4, 5, 6 even different kinds of fonts. And one of the things it's got is this reverse headline which says the word win on it, and I'm going to use something similar to this style for my main headline. So this is how you do a reverse headline if you want to put different coloured letters on a coloured background. So I'm just going to go back to my page here. So this is the area I'm going to work with. So the first thing I need to do is draw a text box. So I go to my left hand tool panel, click on the T, draw myself a little text box there. Okay, the interview feature I've got inside is about alcoholic desserts, cakes and desserts made with beer, vodka and gin, and they're Mary Berry's alcoholic dessert recipes. So that's what my inside feature is about. So I'm going to give it a headline of Tipsy Treats with an exclamation mark. And then I'm going to highlight all that copy, Control A, or use your mouse. And I'm going to change the font, style, size and colour to make it stand out on the page. So I'm going to change it the size to about 36 points, I think. So I'm up here on my size, text size box, and I'm using the drop down menu, 36 points I will. I'm then going to go next to the pick a font. I'm going to go for DIN condensed. You don't have to pick the same fonts as me. Obviously, it depends on the fonts that are used on your magazine. I've got quite a lot of choice with this magazine because it's got so many different kinds of fonts. Some magazines only have one or two, others have lots. So I've got a bit of choice with this one. So it's 34 points. So if I press W to take my guides off, you can see that it's quite a good size on the page and quite a good position under the masthead, but I still need it to stand out a bit more. So to do that, I'm going to change the colour and put it on a coloured box. So double click for your text again. I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to change this text colour to white, and I'm then going to place it on a dark blue background, the same dark blue as I used for the masthead here. So to change the text to white, I highlight the text and I go to my swatches panel on the right hand side. If your swatches panel isn't there, you can see mine is there, but if it isn't there, you can go to Window, Colour and Swatches and click on that and it will appear here. So I've highlighted my text. You can see from this little box, these boxes up the top, that the T box is on the top, which means I'm dealing with the text. The fill box is underneath and the stroke box. But for now, I want the T box. So I'm going to click the white square and change the text to white. Now, if I go back on my top tool, I can see that it's changed to white, but it doesn't stand out. I need to put it on a darker background. So I'm going to click on the box again, but not in the box because that changes the text. And now I want to change the fill of the box, not the text. So I'm just going to click on the box rather than double click in it. And I'm going to go back to my swatches panel and I'm going to go to that dark blue that I made for my masthead that has appeared in my swatches panel. So I'm just going to click that, and that has changed the background to dark blue. Now you can see if I come off it and I press W, it's still not right. It's not centered properly in the box. And if we look at that win, if I just zoom in on this win on the original page, you can see that the word win sits neatly in the middle of the box with the same amount of space around the edges. So that's what we need to do. So firstly, I'm going to click on the box. And when you're clicked on any box, you can go to any of the little pull points around the edges and make the box a bit smaller if you want. I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller. I've got 36 point text in the middle, so I want a big-ish box but not too big. And now I want to center all of that in the middle. So what I can do is I can double click inside the box, Control A. I've highlighted the text. I can go up here and you can see here that allows me to center. So if I do that and I click off again, you can see that it's centered the box from the sides but not from the top. So I need to do that as well. So to do that, I click on the box, not in it, just on it, right click on it, and this menu should come up and there should be text frame options. If I click on that and then I go to this middle area, inset spacing, and I change these top 2 millimeters, you can see if your preview box is clicked at the bottom here, ticked at the bottom, you'll be able to see the changes you're making as you're making them. So I've just put a 2 millimeter inset all around the words in that box, and then I click OK, and now you can see that this looks more like the win. Okay, it looks more like that with the same amount of space all the way around it. I can pull it in a little bit if I want, just to make sure it's all even around the edges, and that's it. So there's my little headline for the feature inside. However, we don't know what it means yet, so I've got to put a little stand first explanation under the headline to tell the reader what Tipsy Treats means and who's involved in it. So I'm going to zoom in again using my magnifying glass so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to go on my T tool to draw another text box underneath the headline, like that kind of size. And I'm going to write in here an explanation, a little explanation, a little stand first kind of thing of what my feature inside is about, what Tipsy Treats refers to. So I'm going to say Mary Berry talks us through gin and tonic cheesecake, which is what this main picture on my page is. Vodka tarts and beery bakes. Okay, so that's an explanation. I'm not going to put a full stop actually because it's a blurb, not a sentence. So that's an explanation of what the feature is about. So people now know what Tipsy Treats means. However, I don't think this font stands out very well. If I press W so you can see it in print, I don't think it stands out very well. I think I want something with a bit more impact. So I'm going to change my font size and my font type. So I'm going to go up here to the types of fonts. I'm going to go back on that one I used for the headline, and I'm going to put it up to maybe 20 points. Okay. And I'll just go back and highlight that text again. I want my leading. You may remember this from the other day in class. The leading is underneath the size box, and the leading is the space between the words. And we'll look at this some more when we format the text on the inside feature. But your leading should be a point or two, between a point or two difference to your font size. But we will look at that on the inside feature. Okay, so now I've got, if I just scroll out, you can zoom out really quickly by pressing Control-0. That will give you an overall page view quite quickly. And I press W, and that's okay. I can see that that's one of the main things in the magazine now because of the position and the size of it on the front page. So that's my main feature inside. So it's got prominent position on the page. This is also part of it, this main picture, because this is a gin and tonic cheesecake. And I think I'm going to put a little inset picture of Mary Berry, just to have add a bit of more interest to the front page, and just because she's a famous person. So to do that, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to go to my left hand tool and pick the picture box, which is this rectangle with the cross in the middle. And I'm just going to draw a little box underneath my headline. And there it is. And I'm going to Control D to bring a picture of Mary Berry in my pictures file. And here's one here. You can see that the picture is far too big for the box. So what I can do quite quickly is go up here and fill frame proportionately. And that's a bit better. And then if I go on my top tool, click on the box and get to the hand in the middle, I can Control greater than and less than and make a few more detail changes as well. Okay, in this picture, Mary Berry's head has actually been chopped off. You can see if I pull the picture down that there's no more of her there that I can use, so I can't bring her a full head in. Okay, so that's a little inset picture of Mary Berry. Maybe that's a bit big. Again, I just click outside of the hand to manipulate the actual box. To manipulate the actual box rather than what's in it. And I can move it a bit further up here. And then if I come off that, press W, I've got a little inset picture of Mary underneath it all. I would quite like a border on this picture because I don't think it stands out very much. So I'm going to click on the box and I'm going to go over to my side panel to stroke. If you don't see stroke on your side panel, it should be there. You can find it under window in a section of its own there, stroke. And stroke is the border around the objects on the page. It's not called border like you might expect, it's stroke. So I'm just going to give it a 1 point border by changing that. And I'm going to keep it as a solid line. It's a solid black line with a 1 point border. If I then click on colour, actually no, I won't do it through colour, I'll do it through swatches. So I've put a black border on it there. I probably want to change that to a dark blue colour, the same as the other dark colour on the page. So I'm going to click on the box, go to swatches, and here you can see underneath that white box there's a little border box. I need to click on that so that comes to the top. And once that comes to the top, you know that's what you're affecting when you make your changes. And I'm going to click on the dark blue. And now if I zoom in close to Mary Berry, you should be able to see that her picture now has a dark blue border around it. So that's it. I've put my main headline and stand first and a little inset picture as well, which you don't have to do. I've just done it because Mary Berry's a famous person and because on the cover of this magazine there are no other people, whereas yours will probably feature a person because you're doing an interview feature. So you will then continue on to copy or make up other blurbs for the side of the page to fill out the page here. You must also remember to put the date line in on the magazine and the barcode and any other little bits and pieces. If it says food, if it says magazine of the year or anything like that, you could try and include that. And that's how we start off our front page of our magazine.